Good morning, Kasturians, and welcome to video 3 of chapter The National Movement Second Phase. In this video, we will discuss the revolutionaries, the Simon Commission, and the Purna Swaraj Resolution. So let's start. Due to the Chauri Chaura incident, the non-cooperation movement was called off by Mahatma Gandhi, and this withdrawal of non-cooperation movement led to the revolutionary actions that began against the British. As a result, in 1924, some of the revolutionary leaders they formed the Hindustan Republican Association to overthrow the British using armed revolution, and in this the famous Kakori Kand or Kakori incident, which was a daring train dacoity, it took place on 9th of August 1925. Some of the revolutionaries they stopped a train at Kakori and took away some of the government money which they used for revolutionary activities. Also, followed by this, in the year 1928, the revolutionaries they assassinated General Saunders, who was a British police officer who has ordered the lathi charge on a peaceful demonstration in which Lala Lajpat Rai was fatally wounded and he lost his life. In the same year, that is 1928, the Hindustan Republican Association was renamed as Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, as the revolutionaries they wanted and they felt strongly that the socialism should be one of the chief goals of the revolution movement led by them. Among the revolutionaries were Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Batukeshwar Dutt, Ram Prasad Bismil and Ashfaq Ullah Khan. Chandrasekhar Azad, Ram Prasad Bismil and Ashfaq Ullah Khan they led the Kakori train dacoity, and Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt they threw a bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly to show their protest against the Public Safety Bill and the arrest of 31 labor leaders, and it all happened on 8th of April 1929. As we know that Bengal was the main center of revolutionary activities, so in Bengal the young men they targeted some of the unpopular police officers and magistrates, that is, these were attacked by the revolutionaries, and three young revolutionaries, Benoy Bose, Badal Gupta and Dinesh Gupta, they killed the Inspector General of Prisons in 1930, and along with these three, it was Surya Sen, who was very famous revolutionary. He organized Indian Republican Army, and on 18th April 1930, along with some of his fellow revolutionaries, he attacked and occupied the police armory at Chittagong district in Bengal, where they looted the arms to use against the British. Apart from the male revolutionaries, the women they also were an active participant in the movement. The women they acted as messengers, provided shelter to the revolutionaries when required, and even attacked the British officers. And one such name to mention was Priti Lata Vadedar. After the hanging of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev on 23rd March 1931 and the death of Chandrasekhar Azad while fighting with the British at Allahabad, the revolutionary movement it lost its momentum with no such national leaders. As in the last video, we have seen that the British government has passed the Government of India Act in 1919 following certain administrative reforms. but the Indians, they were quite dissatisfied. So the British government appointed a commission to look into the working of the act and to suggest further administrative reforms. The chairman of this commission was Sir John Simon. That's why this commission came to be known as the Simon Commission. When this commission arrived to India, the people, the Indian leaders, they welcomed the commission by raising the slogans "Go back Simon." Why it was so? Basically, the Indians, they were very disappointed with the commission, as this commission was framed to suggest administrative reforms in India, but it was having no Indian member. All the members were British or Englishmen, and at the same time, the government refused to accept the demand for self-government, that is to increase the number of seats in the legislative councils. It was decided by the Congress to boycott the commission, and when commission arrived in India on 4th of February 1928, Simon Go Back slogans were raised and it was greeted by an all India strike. Later on in the same year, that is 1928, in its annual session, Congress passed a resolution in which it demanded the dominion status. That is, in India, the Indians will frame the government, although it will work under the supervision of the British government or British Parliament. But it was also suggested that if the government denies to do so, then the Congress will demand for complete independence, that is complete freedom from the British rule. Later on, in December 1929 Lahore session of Congress, Jawaharlal Nehru was elected the President of Congress, and he replaced Pandit Motilal Nehru. In this way, this session proved to be an important session as the leadership of Congress passed into the young hands, and in the same session, the declaration of Purna Swaraj or complete independence was decided as the ultimate goal of Congress, and all the nationalists and congressmen, they were told to resign from the legislatures and boycott the coming elections. And also it was decided that 26th of January will be observed as the Independence Day every year. To achieve Purna Swaraj, a mass movement was required, and there Gandhiji in 1930 launched the civil disobedience movement, which is also known as Savinay Avagya Andolan in Hindi, and Gandhiji launched this movement with the Dandi March. The Dandi March was actually a march which was to break the salt law. What was salt law? According to the salt law, only the British people or the British companies were given the monopoly to manufacture and sale of salt and to impose tax on salt. And as salt was an essential commodity which was used by almost each and every Indian, whether he is a Muslim or a Hindu, so Gandhiji saw the salt law as a opportunity to unite the Muslims and Hindus, and that's why he started the Dandi March on 12th of March 1930. He left the Sabarmati ashram along with 78 followers to reach Dandi, which was a village on the west coast of India. The march continued for 25 days, in which a distance of around 385 kilometers was covered, and finally on 6th of April Gandhiji reached Dandi, where he boiled the sea water and manufactured salt. Also he collected the salt lying on the coast, and in this way he broke the salt law. When the march started, there were only 78 followers, but as the march came to end, that is the Dandi march came to an end, there were around 50,000 people who were following Gandhiji. This Dandi march led the people to oppose the government, and the entire nation started opposing the government. Similar march was led by Chakravarti Rajgopalachari from Trichinopoly to Vedaranyam. In Gujarat also, Sarojini Naidu protested in front of the salt depots, and the work which was left due to untimely withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement was completed in the civil disobedience movement. The whole country became involved in it, and strikes were organized that made the life to come to a standstill. Boycott of schools, colleges and offices took place on a large scale. Foreign made goods were burnt in bonfires, and the people, they stopped paying taxes. But all this was non-violent struggle, and the British authority, they tried to suppress this march or opposition of the people using lathis and bullets. But the people now, they were well aware and they faced it with courage. The Dandi March became so famous in the world that not only in India but from the other parts of the world, the demand for India's freedom struggle, it gained its strength and it became so popular. As a result, in 1930 November, the government called a conference in London for discussion on the reforms proposed by the Simon Commission. But the Congress boycotted it. Only the Muslim League, the Hindu Mahasabha and the representatives of Indian princes, they participated. Since the Congress was considered to be an all India organization which boycotted this conference, there was no decision taken and the conference became a failure. In 1931, Viceroy Irwin, he signed a treaty with Gandhiji, and this came to be known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact, according to which the British government agreed to release all the political prisoners except those who were found involved in the violent cases. In turn, the Congress agreed to suspend the civil disobedience movement, and it gave its permission to participate in the second round table conference. The second round table conference was organized in September 1931, where Gandhiji was sent by the Congress to London to attend the conference. The British government also invited representatives from Muslim, Sikhs, Christians and the Indian princes. Most of the people, they claimed to be the representatives of their respective communities. Like from the Muslim leagues, they represented the Muslims only. The Sikh leaders, they were representing Sikh community. The Christian leaders, they were representing the Christian community. But only Gandhiji said that I am the whole sole representative of the country. The government refused to accept the demands which were put by Gandhiji, and again the conference became a failure. After his return to India, after attending the second roundtable conference, Gandhiji resumed civil disobedience movement and the Congress supported it. But the government tried to repress the movement. Lakhs of people, they were put in jail, and all the major leaders including Gandhiji, they were arrested. And since no such strong leader was there to guide the people, this civil disobedience movement lost its focus, and ultimately as a result in May 1934 the Congress withdrew the movement. That's all we have in this video. In the next video we will see the Quit India movement, and the Government of India Act of 1935. Thank you and have a nice day.